HOA built a fence across my field. My bull made sure it didn't last till sundown. The sun hung high over Karen Valley, casting long shadows across my field, where golden wheat swayed like a restless sea. For 30 years, this land had been my family's heart, passed down from my father, who tilled it with calloused hands. It wasn't just dirt, it was legacy, sweat, and the promise of harvest. But that morning, I woke to find HOA, my neighbor of 2 decades, hammering stakes into my soil, stringing a rickety wooden fence right through the middle of my field. She didn't ask, didn't warn, just stood there, her face hard as the oak. She drove into my earth, claiming half my land as her own. HOA and I had never been friends, but we'd coexisted. Her family grew rice on the adjacent plot, their paddies glistening under the same sun that fed my wheat. We shared the valley's rhythm, plant, tend, harvest without crossing paths much. But whispers in the village said HOA's husband had gambled away their savings, leaving her desperate. I'd heard she'd been eyeing my field, claiming an old, vague boundary map gave her rights to it. I thought it was just talk, until that fence. I stormed out, my boots kicking up dust. "HOA!" I shouted, my voice cracking like dry timber. She didn't flinch, just kept hammering. "This is my land. You got no right." She straightened, her eyes sharp as a hawk's. "Your land? My grandfather worked this valley before your father ever touched it. This half's mine." She pointed to a crumpled map in her pocket, her voice steady but laced with venom. "Check the records. You'll see." I laughed, bitter. "Records? You think a scrap of paper changes what's been mine for decades?" The village elder, Mr. Ton, appeared then, his face creased with worry. He'd always been the peacemaker, but even he looked uneasy. "Let's talk this out," he urged, his hands raised. "No need for war over dirt." But it wasn't just dirt. It was my daughter's future, my father's memory. HOA's fence wasn't just wood, it was a knife through my life. I shook my head. "Take it down, HOA, or I will." Her lips curled. "Try it. You'll regret it." By noon, the village buzzed. Neighbors gathered, whispering, picking sides. Some said HOA was right, her family's roots ran deep. Others called her greedy, desperate to steal what wasn't hers. I didn't care for their chatter. I cared about my field. And I had an ally. Brutus, my 2-ton bull, a beast as stubborn as me. He'd grazed this land since he was a calf, and he didn't take kindly to barriers. I led Brutus to the fence. His nostrils flared, sensing the intrusion. HOA stood on her side, arms crossed, daring me. "You wouldn't," she said, but her voice wavered. I didn't answer. I just unhooked Brutus's rope. He charged, his hoofs thundering, and the fence didn't stand a chance. Wood splintered, stakes flew, and by the time the dust settled, HOA's claim lay in ruins. She screamed, her face red with fury, but I felt no triumph, just a hollow ache. Then came the twist. As the crowd dispersed, a boy stepped forward, Tam, HOA's teenage son, who'd been silent all day. His eyes were wet, his voice trembling. "You think you won?" he said, glaring at me. "That land was our last hope. Dad's gone. The bank's taking everything. Mom was fighting for me." He pulled out a faded image of HOA's grandfather working my field, decades ago. It wasn't proof, but it was enough to make my stomach twist. Had I been wrong? Was my claim as shaky as hers? That night, the village council met. Ton presented records, murky, conflicting ones. The land's boundaries were never clear, drawn up by men long dead. HOA's map was old but legitimate. So was mine. The council ruled to split the field evenly, a compromise that satisfied no one. HOA rebuilt her fence the next day, smaller, legal. I kept Brutus tied, but the valley felt broken, like a bone that heals wrong. I saw HOA weeks later, tending her half. She didn't look at me. Tam did, though, his eyes heavy with resentment. I wanted to say something, sorry, maybe, but pride choked me. The wheat grew, but the harvest felt empty. My field was mine, yet it wasn't. HOA's fight, Tam's pain. the village's dividite all lingered, heavier than Brutus's charge. What's right in a fight like this? Where does justice lie when two truths clash? Share your thoughts. Whose side are you on?